Cheryl Swinton has been executive principal of Burke High School for almost 2 years now. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with her one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio.
Miss Cheryl Swinton.
Yes.
It is so good to meet you.
It's great to have you here at Burke.
Oh, I appreciate it. This is home.
Yes. I spend a lot of hours here.
Yeah. And for me, I went here for 4 years. We left here with the class of 2004.
Okay.
And I know that obviously you are the executive principal for Burke High School, haven't been here for a year. And you just told me just off camera that, hey, you're going to be here in 2 years in March.
Right.
What has it been like for you, Cheryl Swinton, the executive principal for Burke High School?
It's been exhilarating. And what I mean by that is there has not been a dull moment. This is an exciting challenge. It has given me the opportunity to come back to my roots, because when I came to Charleston over 30 years now ago, the first place I taught was Burke High School. And so I feel that that this is full circle for me, and that this is a greater plan than I even imagined. I thought that there was some impact as a teacher, but when you come back after a number of years and are now seeing children of those students that you taught, it gives, for me, it really speaks to a greater mission. I feel like this is a special calling to make a difference in the lives of young people and this whole community. I don't take it lightly at all. I just know that there is a purpose for my being here, and I really hope that I will make a great impact upon the academic achievement of the students here at Burke High School.
You talk about this community. It's an iconic community, as you know, founded by Burke High School. What is the future of this community with Burke High School in your mind?
Well, I hope it's bright. All of us, obviously we can tell that the community is changing. I recall when I taught here many years ago, students walked from around the corners. I knew the people. Some were even my relatives that lived on this street. However, it is still a public high school, and we welcome anyone that lives in this community to join the student population here. And so I hope that as the community grows, that our student enrollment will grow. And with that being said, I'm sure that we will have a more diverse population here. I welcome that, look forward to it, because I think the more exposure we have to diversity, the more we're able to deal with the things that happen in our world and are better equipped to meet the challenges that face us as we move into a global economy.
And you talk about the academic achievement.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of good things happening here at Burke High School.
Yes.
As we're sitting right now, what's good?
Well, the marvelous thing is that we have great teachers here. I recognize that the rubber meets the road in the classrooms. And so we have teachers that are energetic, that are innovative. We have teachers that work hard, spend long hours in preparation for our students, and teachers that are aware that students have diverse needs. No longer are we equipping students to just graduate from high school, but we are equipping students to leave high school with skills that are marketable, should they choose to go straight to work, or if they choose to go to college or the military. We hope that what we are imparting every day equips them so that they can meet those challenges.
And what challenges do you guys have right now?
I would say the largest challenge is to make sure that our curriculum connects with what is relevant for students. And one of the ways in which we're doing that is we have embraced a unique instructional model. In addition to all the good things that have been happening, about, I guess, 2.5 years ago, some community members, along with the faculty, staff, and parents here in the community, sat with the district and a national recognized curriculum organization called New Tech Network, whereby we were introduced to an instructional model that solely promotes project-based learning. And what that essentially does is it allows students to see how relevant what they're learning is to real life. I'll give you an example. Just recently, our ninth grade students and they still are working on a project where they're looking at how folk become complacent when they receive hurricane warnings. And so to look at that as a problem in our community, particularly in Charleston with the number of hurricanes that we've recently experienced, or the threat of hurricanes, we've noticed that people are no longer moving out. You know, when the warning is made, people are rationalizing why they should stay. And as a result, we could have some, tragedies or devastation like we did during Hugo.
Right.
So the teachers who are co-teaching, our earth science teacher and our world geography teachers, saw that as a relevant problem. And of course, our students can relate to that because they live it. And as they did that, they ventured to other agencies outside of the school. And talking to someone who was connected to the Coast Guard, we were able to actually have a Coast Guard leader, I think his name was Captain Schaff, who connected with our teachers. And as a result, we were able to simulate what a hurricane rescue looks like. And so last Friday, we had we had a helicopter to actually land on Harmon Field.
Right.
But prior to its landing, one of the Coast Guards actually was dispensed from the plane, and they showed how that person was picked up and then rescued. Students got an opportunity to ask questions and to talk more about how serious hurricane warnings are, and for us to heed to those warnings, because of course we know what the end result could be if something like that were to come and we not take advantage of the opportunity to leave. And so they're still studying it, and hopefully they will promote the need for people to become aware of what they need to do in preparation for hurricanes.
And you also talk about challenges. I want to talk to you about Stonyfield.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want the future of that to look like in your mind?
Well, I know that the city is working in collaboration with our school and I think the rec department. All of them are involved in improving the field. There have been some issues with the field, and of course we want our students to be safe as they are participating in athletic events. And the mayor and some community members and leaders here in the school sat with them, and we talked about plans, as well as district staff.
Sure.
We talked about plans to improve it, and my understanding is that pretty soon they're going to dump some more, I don't know if it's called dirt, but they're going to have to resurface Stonyfield because it has been sinking. And as a result of that, it may be that next year we won't be able to use that field because I think it takes about a year for it to settle. So there are plans in the works to improve the field because we want our students at Burke, and I believe the city would want the same thing, to have the same literal playing field as any other school so that they have the best opportunity to be successful.
And you talk about schools. Obviously, you spent 15 years, I believe, over at Wando High School. What was that experience like in your mind?
That was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot. Of course, I have moved from, when I left Wando, I believe there were probably about 3,700 students, and here we have about 374. So I have about a tenth of the population. But what I found is students are the same everywhere. They have the same academic, physical, social, emotional needs as any other school. Because this is a smaller environment, there are more opportunities, I believe, for all of us to make connections. At Wando, there were opportunities for connections through athletics, through all of the clubs and organizations that were there. And there were literally enough adults there that I would say for every 10 to 12 students there was an adult. The same thing holds true here. Probably more, the student-adult ratio is probably a little higher. But I think the most important thing I take away from it is that students have to make a connection with the adults that are in the building. And every opportunity that I have to hire more adults and to bring in volunteers is helpful, because our students need role models. They need strong role models. They need exposure to success, because that's the direction we're headed. And so, all I can say is Wando equipped me for what I'm doing here, and every opportunity that we can have to work together in partnership with other schools, we do that. We do a lot of collaboration with other schools, and they have even been supportive while I'm here.
And obviously, your husband's a household name here in Charleston, Reverend William Swinton, the Ebenezer AME Church.
Uh-huh.
How did you and him meet?
Oh my goodness. That's really interesting. We actually, even though I'm from a very small town, Lynchburg, South Carolina, which is between Florence and Sumter, I told the students in a biology class the other day that my small town has, to this day, not a red light, but a blinking light. So I came from very humble beginnings. But I was involved in a church, and we both are AMEs, and our youth ministry is called YPD. So over 35 years ago, our state had a YPD conference here in Charleston. My husband was here during the Christmas break, and Randolph Miller invited him to his church, which at the time was on Meeting Street, Trinity. Trinity AME Church on Meeting Street. Invited my husband to come visit. I think he told me, he said, we have all these young people from all over the state that are visiting, and I think it'll be a good opportunity for you to meet some of the ministers and the leaders in ministry for our church. And so I happened to be home on break from Winthrop. I was in grad school at the time. And so we kind of, even though it was coincidental, I believe it was divine. We somehow were sitting on the same pew, and I think he was sitting in the middle of someone, and then I was on the other side, and he just struck a conversation, which was very, surface conversation, nothing very serious. And I think we exchanged phone numbers, and he shared with me that he was in ministry. That was not so attractive to me because my father is a pastor, and I have no interest in dating or marrying anyone who's in ministry because I had dealt with that all my life. But needless to say, long story short, we communicated through phone and letter at that time. There were no text messages or Facebook or anything like that. We just used the telephone and letters. And people laugh, even my children laugh when I tell them that our dating was really just the exchange of books. We read books and shared about various things in those books, and became good friends, and eventually got married. And the rest is history. We have 2 children now and have been married over 35 years.
Wow. As long as I've been living. Let me get back to Burke High School. Obviously, you know about writing the vision and making and playing. What is your vision for the Burke High School community in this future?
Well, my vision is for the students here. And the way we impact the community is that we move our students academically. I want to see our students grow academically. And so every day we're working hard to ensure that they have the best instruction in the classroom, that they have the best experiences, whether they're in or outside of the classroom. But ultimately, I want to make sure that they're equipped to meet the challenges of of what's out there, and that's a global society. I want students to leave Burke High School and have the ability to compete with students from all over the world, because no longer are they going to compete with just individuals in Charleston or even South Carolina or the United States. So my vision is growth in every area. I challenged them at the beginning of school that they are to rise. They actually did a pledge to all graduate, but we want to see them equipped to move beyond graduation from high school, to be successful in whatever endeavor they select after high school.
That is so great to hear. Well, Cheryl Swinton, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Anytime, and I'll see you at Ebenezer.
Okay. I look forward